Hey everybody, it's Nana K with Eric Hill's Papercraft Studio. We're going to be doing a little bit of work. I'm getting tangled up already. We're going to be doing just a little bit of work on Journal Junior here. Here's what you would consider a normal size journal. And we have Journal Junior. And these Journal Juniors made just like the others with sewn in signatures. It has two signatures. Custom fit paper, of course, but it's the same type of paper that you use in regular journals. We've done some decorating in this, and if you missed it before, we made Journal Junior's butterfly cover. This is fabric covered, made out of the two panels and middle panel. And it's covered inside with custom printed, custom art paper produced by us at Papercraft Studio, Eric Hill's Papercraft Studio. But this is put together just like a large journal and is covered in fabric with butterflies on it. Yeah, it's the back of the cover and the inside. Okay. So what I need to do right now is try to get a closure fashioned for Journal Junior. Now, it's going to be a miracle if I can thread this needle. Okay, miracles do happen. All right. What I'm thinking about doing is taking some of this burlap trim, and you have probably seen it at Dollar Tree. If you go to the #1 crafting supply resource store in America, it's at Dollar Tree. And it's at Dollar Tree. Well, we'll just see how that wraps around. But what I discovered is I pulled out a bunch of buttons, had some ideas, found a very tiny button that has a long extension eye hole, and it happens to fit. If you pull this apart far enough, you can get it to fit through like it is a buttonhole. So what I intend to do is cut enough to wrap around the journal and somewhere close, so there'll be kind of a dangle somewhere close to the front. Put this, that was what I pulled apart in the first place. There'll be enough to make kind of a nice little dangle in front with the buttoned. And so what I need to do is glue it around the back from here, pull it around front. Actually, I wouldn't need to do that at all, would I? Well, we could just tie it and be done with it. But we're more adventurous than that. Okay, so let's try what I'm thinking about doing. You put the button about here. And so then you would use the button to attach it anywhere you needed to, as tight. As this grows, it is going to get a lot fatter. So as it grows, so what needs to be anchored is the button here. Pull it around and like that. Okay, it doesn't need to be quite that long. here put together and about like that. So the button needs to be on this piece. So what we need to do is cut it right about here. And if it's like any of the rest of the things that I get from Dollar Tree of this type of nature, made out of burlap, we're going to want to glue the ends just for security so it won't go completely unravel on us. We'll glue a couple of sections, and that may take just a minute to dry. So while we're doing that, you can just speculate on, let's put the button right about here. So sewing the button on a piece of burlap, I've never done before. And there's not much to work with right there. So what I think I need to do is find a piece of fabric to serve as an anchor for us. I just happen to have a piece of scrap fabric right here, something that I've worked with before. It's notorious for unraveling as well, so I'll have to glue that too. And it's going to have to be kind of small. So let's go. Wow, that burlap is going to town shedding. So we'll go ahead and just do a complete saturation on the back of this piece of fabric with Fabrifix. That's what I use in the bottle. And that's a Sugar Bell icing bottle. You might have heard Pam talk about it on her channel. And if you haven't checked out Pam at the paper, let me see if I can remember it correctly, the Paper Outpost. Or we enjoy watching Pam a lot. We've seen a lot of her videos. She has quite a few videos, and we all in the studio enjoy watching her. So shout out to Pam and turning us on to the Sugar Bell icing bottle and putting Fabrifix in it. I mean, it works quite nicely for us. So we're going to wait for that to dry just a minute. Well, actually, it might help hold it into place where we need to sew it on. So let's just go ahead and use it like that. And we'll glue it on. So it'll be the anchor for sewing our button on. There we have it. Now we can sew the button on properly. Well, I don't know about sewing on buttons properly. That's a subject for somebody else to cover. And I already messed up. Okay, do over. I I need to double up my thread. And I also need to give myself some space. There we go. And double up the thread that I'm going to sew the button on with. Ah, it's coming back to me. Pardon me. I haven't sewn for quite some time. No one actually, including my mother, formally taught me how to sew. I enjoy learning things on my own. I taught myself how to type when I was 12 years old. I found a book, and I remember it like it was yesterday. I found a book in Mom's closet, in the bottom of Mom's closet, and it said how to type. And of course, we had an old manual typewriter. It was around 1972, I guess. And I told Mom that I wanted to try to learn how to type. And so she set me up with the old manual typewriter. It's real tall, and the round clackety clackety keys and everything, and ribbons and all that. And she gave me some paper and said, "Have fun." So I did. And believe it or not, I did teach myself how to type, and I got good at it too. I mean, darn good at it. Excuse me. It was, to me, a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And so when I got to high school, I was 12. When I finally got to high school and we had to take typing, I blew them out of the water. I mean, because I had like 80 Guam gross words a minute, you know. I blew them out of the water. That was the easiest A I've ever had. I'm sorry for being a little bit hoarse. I've had trouble with my voice recently. I apologize. So we're getting the button sewn on. And I don't have any background information on this button, but it's a weird little button. It's pretty tall, but it's tiny. I can't imagine imagine wearing clothes and having that you have to button this tiny little button all the time. And there were other tiny little buttons just like it. I don't think I would have liked that garment. I really don't. So let's get tied off back here. I'll have to think of something to cover up this ugly knot spot with. But for right now, we're just going to go with, see if it even works, because I've never done this before. I just kind of halfway thought it up, and, well, why not? Okay. Yeah. And since we had it, we may as well. Well, let's see. I'll do something here. I said I spy with my little eye this thing right here. Let's see if that's the cover for the ugly knot that I was fantasizing about. Okay, and I have lots of thread left over to use, so I'm going to put it on my grandmother's. This is my grandmother's tomato, sewing tomato. And of course, unfortunately, my grandmother and my mother both passed away. I'm 65. So I'm fresh out of grandmas and mamas. But that's okay. I've got friends. I've got you. That's why I enjoy other people and other people's grandmas. Other people's mamas. My husband is very lucky to still have his mother and father alive, and they're in their 80s. Very active, very happy. Okay. And that's what I was planning on doing, just kind of in my head. was finding a little piece of fabric just to cover it up with. And well, voila, there was that piece still sitting there when we made the backing for the button. So that's good. That worked out. Now, I didn't show you a close-up of this strange little button here. It has a checkerboard or a tic-tac-toe design on it, something. And it's kind of a greenish. It's dark. But let's see if it works. Okay. This is pretty much put together. It's got that glue on the back of it, so I didn't really want to put it next to the book just the second. So we need the Jeopardy music to play. Yeah, because we're waiting. I know I can trim this up a little bit while we're waiting. Okay, that was harder than I thought. All right. Well, it might just, so let's give it another couple of, well, 30 seconds or something like that. I'll clean up the shedding off of the Dollar Tree stuff. And let's see how it goes. Because I'll probably, I mean, if this works, okay. Um, I'll probably anchor it by gluing it across the back somehow. And, well, it just needs to be pulled apart right where the button needs to come to. So it needs to be about, I give it a little slack. It needs to be about that big right there. A little tighter. It could go a little tighter. I had my bookmark in there for using this as the next page to decorate. Well, this is it. Not sure I really like that though. And the thing is though, you can tighten it up because that was pretty loose. That was pretty loose. And you know what? We could just do this and be real happy and not fuss with it. And use that if we wanted to problem solve. There we go. Okay. Now I wanted to do just a little decorating. There's a lot of writing area in here. It needs more decorating than it needs covering up. But I tend to do a lot of dark pages in this journal. There are a lot more dark pages that I have coffee dyed. I coffee dye everything. My pink pages are coffee dyed. But like this one, I like to have available space to write in. This is writable here. That turned out just a little bit darker when I was stenciling it in. This, however, when I put it in, was extremely dark. And I wrote something on here just to show that you can write on it, you can read it. I used a very good writing pen. I can't read it. Fudenosuke. And it is Japanese, I believe. Combo is the manufacturer. It's a brush pen. So it does write larger than, say, a clicky top. But the brush pen, you can write on it. But I still wanted to give it just a little more. So I washi tape and glued some tissue paper across the top so you can still kind of see this gorgeous page and the embellishment that's on the page, but you still have some place to write also. And this does have a lot of journaling pages, it's open pages. This is the Garden Birdie journal. We've made the cover and done some decoration in the Garden Birdie journal previously. But like this was an extremely dark page. I think it was the other side of that page with the tissue on it. I put down some Mod Podge on this page. And when I put down the Mod Podge on this page, I did underneath and on top. And yes, you can write with this the same brush pen that I showed you. It does write as well. It takes just a minute to dry. And it didn't smear when after about 60 seconds or so, I ran my finger across it. It did not smear, so that's good. You can write on it as well. I just hate that you can't see the page a lot better, so that's why I left the tissue paper loose on this one so you could write on it and still enjoy the actual page that I printed on. I printed one of our paper printables on it, which that's the roses that are on here, and it had a some writing and a lady's face, and her face happens to be, I believe, in the center of this particular signature. Let me see if I'm remembering correctly. Her beautiful face. Let's put it that way. Yes, yes, it's this same picture except on a very dark coffee stained page. And so that is what I had to contend with just to give you some, more space to write on, because you could write on this particular page. The other one was stained so dark. And this one's going to have kind of the same issue because the stamp and the stain turned out, the stamping on this one, uh, when I printed it out on the coffee stain paper, turned out gorgeous. I love the way it looks. It just need to be able to write on it better. So I got to come up with something for that. Unless I just want to leave it alone. I am going to use a couple of pages. Just leave a couple of pages alone. This is the middle of the actual book between the two signatures. They both are also dark. This one's writable. This one would be kind of a challenge. Not everybody has a white painter's pen or a white gel pen. I highly recommend it because it's a lot of fun to use them. It's a lot of fun. And you get such different results out of it. And I thought I do have a page in here somewhere because see how dark that one is too. So I'm trying to come up with solutions to give you more pages besides doing the same thing like this. I mean, this is kind of a common technique. Oh dear, I'm smashing Journal Junior. Help me, help me. Yes, I'll help you, Journal Junior. Here, let me move him out of the way. There we go. The common technique is to paperclip, and that's how I dealt with this dark page. Beautiful. I love this print. And I love the old alchemy, symbolism and everything on the dark page. And you can write over here, but this entire page would be difficult to write on unless you used a white gel pen. So what I did to help remedy the situation was put in a small booklet. There's some fun things to play with. But I put in a small booklet of paper to write on. It's usually a notepad or a little booklet of paper. That's how I get around that. And I usually try to put a lot of paper too. so you can actually write something. You need to be, I am of the opinion that you need to be able to write in a journal and not have it, come to you that's all dark and printed and all decorated up and you have nothing to do besides look at it. Although that's fun, you need to, expect to have some fun as well. So we'll put this covered paper clip, of which I made a video of doing this particular covered paper clip and other ones. That is a pretty ornate covered paper clip, but I like it. It's cool. So I'll keep it for a while. And well, while I had my buttons out here, these wild buttons that Mom, these are all things that Mom had collected. I think I might try to put on the signature strings a couple of the buttons, like this one that has rhinestone. And these are all vintage. I would venture to say there would probably some of them be antique as well. She kept a lot of my grandmother's clothing and incorporated it into some of her things. Check out those buttons. And this one is blue. I think I like this one. And this is probably from the 60s, 50s, or 60s because it's plastic, but it's got a blue rhinestone in the middle. I don't know what makes me think that it's from the 60s, but I think it is. But anyway, I know I'll be using at least these two to hang on to the signature strings. Pick out a couple of charms or something like that for two more strings. So that's button fun. And here I got off into the Garden Birdie Journal and the Dark Pages, but we don't have the Dark Pages issue in here very much. When I ran across it so far, I've done, the regular things like put in a belly band, but that's not a place to write right there. So I need to do a little bit, but this has so few dark pages in it. Most of the pages right now have not been embellished. I put in like washi tape and lace and done some stamping. I have just now started to embellish Journal Junior. Did glue this in, that was unwritable, so I glued a blind paper on top. Left it at that for the moment. And this one, I put a little charm. It's got a little pocket here. And you can write on the back of that. Like I said, I'm not stressing about not having a lot of writable paper in this particular tiny journal because I did make sure that there was a lot of space and it wasn't too dark and you could make use of just about every page in here as a writable page. But for this one that I wanted to do something for, that's what this is for also. I'll just show you one technique since I've run long already, longer than I wanted to. What I want to do is take that somehow I wanted to put it in here and fold it up. Yeah, that was the way this one was going to go. And it would be anchored up at the top. And then just fold down so you'll have more writing space. but still be able to flip it up and enjoy what's on the page here and write and decorate and put stickers on that if you want to, if that's what you want to do with it. So I think that is a good way to handle it. So I need some appropriate washi tape. We've got some that I really, really enjoy using. I cannot remember where I got this from, but I really like it. And I'm running low on this already. Now that's wider than what I want it to be. So I'm just going to give it a tear on this side. It's some of my favorite things that I love to do. It's probably like everybody else. Inking. Give it that worn, used feel that we love. There we go. It needs inking all the way around. Okay. Like that, like so. And what I want to do here is put it right on the edge. I like that green. I just put there's some green there. Do I want it up there or there? I think I want it up there. I want it poking out over the top just a tiny, 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 tiny bit. Just a little bit. I won't say what I was about to say. There's a saying in Georgia, and probably not appropriate for sharing at the moment. So let's see. That's what I was going to do. I was going to put just a bit of washi tape over it. There we are. Well, I'm just kitty cornered on that one. All right. Pull it around the corner and give that corner some interest. I already put a teeny tiny stamp right there. I got some teeny tiny stamps. I just adore them. They're gorgeous. They're little tiny little stamps. And I had to trim away the excess around. It kept catching the corners when I was trying to ink the thing, and it made a mess. And so I wound up taking the X-Acto knife and trimming a lot of it off. And of course, I still kept the design, though. Get that in there just a little bit. Okay. I just did my fingernails, and all that, the glue eats my fingernails away. Makes me crazy. See, these aren't ruined. These are already. Never mind. Okay. So that way, right now, we have just added the ability for somebody to, instead of losing this page to write, you can enjoy the page You can extend it down, and you can also extend it up and right on the back side of it as well. And do I want to put a clip on it or no? I'll give it some thought. Anyway, I'm going to do the same thing with this one as well. And since you know the technique, you know what's going to happen. And I'll just show you this right quick. I did that last night. I'm going to side pocket. That's one of our mushrooms that is one of our paper rentables through Eric Hill's Paper Craft Studio. And I printed it out, put stickles around the side, put some washi tape, just gold and clear washi tape. And, pardon me, and made a side pocket. And so we're just now beginning, or I'm just beginning to decorate Journal Junior. Just have a few things done so far. And it was mainly trying to make sure that every page was usable or as usable as we wanted to make it. And we want most of the pages to be writable, but still have some visual interest, not just be, you know. Well, hi there, and I know you didn't know I was gone. Something happened to my camera, and we lost the last bit of what I was saying about we wanted to make as much of the journal, any journal that we make, as usable as possible, as well as being embellished in an extremely interesting manner. So that's what we're going to be doing there. And then I pointed out the fact that we were going to be have to make custom tags for this one, of course, like this. I just went ahead and made a custom tag for that because I was interested in getting that done and putting it on the center of the signature, one of the signatures in Journal Junior. But last night I made a live video. We have live crafting sessions, so be sure and subscribe and hit the notification button so you'll know when I go live. A lot of times, since I've had a lot of trouble speaking lately, I just play music and you can journal, work on whatever type of craft that I'm working on or do what you want to do and just enjoy the music and craft along with somebody else. I enjoy the company. But these are the tags that I made last night. I made a masterboard. The title was something about making a masterboard and tags, and so you can watch that. But it has music to it. There's no talking, and we made these are 3.5 by 4. No, 3 by 4 tags, and they have journaling spaces on the back of all of them. So I make sure if I make tags that it's a tag with a purpose and a design. But I made a masterboard that I just loved and cut it up into tags, of which I love these tags. They're great. And this in particular was it was a doodle that I did on the papers, and I had a tiny, tiny little stamp, and I drew a face and made her hair out of the flowers in the flower stamp, and I loved it. But unfortunately, when I cut the tags part, it did cut it perfectly. It cut her face off, and her hair's over here. So I guess it worked out. Worked out fine. And there's that one. And Wolfie, who has been featured, he's a stamp of ours, has made a reappearance on this tag. We love Wolfie. and love using that little stamp. And he's on this tag. And he's also on a hidden paper clip somewhere in the area. Did I use him in here? I know you used him in the other journal, I think. Anyway, it's good to see you. Like and subscribe, and hit the notification button if you'd like to know when we go live. And we'll see you later. Thanks for joining in. Talk to you soon.